Okay, so this is my early access review for Otherland. It's a sci-fi futuristic MMORPG made by Drago Entertainment, based off of a book called Otherlands by Tad Williams. And basically, from what I glimpsed over about the book series, it's set in a virtual reality type deal. I can't really give you much more in detail than that, but to start off, I wanted to say uh, my full review was probably around 20 or so long or whatever. If you combine, because I made two reviews, I made a first impression on the forums, and then this one. If you combine them, it's all roughly 40 to 50 things. I had something to say. I intended on making a first impression video, but after looking at the first impression video footage when I was going to splice it and everything, I realized that this stuff was like really bad, and honestly, I felt like it wasn't fair to the game or to the company that showcased them in their worst time. So I decided to scrap the first impression video altogether. Um, Basically, what this stuff is what you're seeing right now is just gameplay footage, random gameplay footage that I caught throughout the game. Like I said, which I had intended on making an end game review as well, but apparently the quest line stops period at around level 38 to 40. So I mean, it is early access and all, so, but other than that, honestly, it didn't do anything. The game, honestly, the game did not do anything to keep me interested past. I mean, honestly, the only reason I kept playing, the only thing that kept me playing, was the urge to have some information about Endgame, so that I could provide a well informed Endgame early access review. But oh well, I got what I got, and I think it's about time to just cut my ties and wash my hands of the game, since it's clearly not impressing me in any way, shape, or form. So I'm gonna start with the things that I didn't really like about the game, and most likely, kind of issues I thought it had was you couldn't really tell who was hostile. Number one, number two, I also kind of felt like it lacked a let's see, it lacked a sell all feature. So it lacked simple features like sell all, etc., etc. The game feels like it should still be an alpha, to be honest. I mean, the devs are on and on about how all these bad reviews are hurting them, when they don't realize that when you put a game out in such poor in a poor way, people are gonna make and they're not gonna be all objectionable and biased and understand. They're just gonna say, "Oh, I paid $20 for this. Oh, this is pretty bad. This is pretty bad. I don't care if it's early access. This sucks." And they're gonna give it bad reviews, and they're like telling people, "Please give us good reviews." And they even got mad at me because just because I was apparently, a vocal person on the forum. They thought that I was gonna kiss their ass and lie. I'm like, dude, I don't care. It doesn't matter if I'm vocal on the forums or not. I'm trying to help you guys. Does not mean I'm gonna lie and say, oh, well, this game is perfect. It's fan fucking tastic. No, I'm gonna give my actual opinion on the game. I understand it's early access, and I understand, that the game's not gonna be perfect, but the things that I was complaining about weren't really things that you can blame on having it be in early access. I mean, let's start with the first thing. This game has had a rocky ass development to begin with. Not only has it been in development for 6 years, and we're just now hitting early access, and according to them, release isn't for another 6 months. So, the company who had this was Gamigo. They dropped the game, and then who knows how long the game was in limbo before Drago picked it up. Now, the game was started on Unreal Engine 3, and by the time they picked it up, Unreal Engine 4 was out. Now, this is what I would have done. Let's see, The game, like I said, it's 2013, 2014. The game looks dated as shit. Okay, it Unreal Engine 4 is out. I would have just scrapped the game and started over on Unreal Engine 4. The end result would have provided and yielded much better results from players and investors. Because the main problem is going on about, oh, this game looks like shit. Oh, the graphics look like shit. Oh, no, this graphic looks like shit. And a lot of people even seem to think, even fans of the book, seem to synonymously agree that the only thing that's saving the graphics is the fact that the game is actually supposed to be in a virtual reality Tron like world, and some of the textures you can get away with that. So honestly, if it wasn't for the VR theme of the game, it probably would look terrible, a lot worse than it does now. But they also haven't optimized the full effects of a graphics engine, I think, on a graphics card for the game yet. So, you know, basically what you see in the screenshots is not what you're gonna get in the game. A lot of people go on about. I believe that, for like number 4, I believe that the PvP system is completely fucking awful. That game feels like it's 20% done. If you want my honest opinion, the game feels like, because I went all the way up to level 38, and the game feels like it's 20 to 30% done. I honestly to God feel like the game should still be back in alpha or at least closed beta. And early access really just feels like that fucking grimy ass quick cash grab tactic. And then it shouldn't be that way. But yeah, it's. I feel like I feel like the game should not be in such a shitty state that it is right now. I feel like it should be, if you're gonna charge for an early access, especially $16 to $24 to $35, the game should feel more done than 20 to 30%. On top of let's just go into how the PvP sucks. Okay, so the only thing they have right now, I think, is a capture the flag type situation. Now, I like how big the map was, or seemed. It was pretty nice. It was capture the flag, and the only problem was the game queues you up even if there's no one to go against. So I'll be in a PvP match by myself, which is completely fucking stupid. So I never really got to test out actual PvP because I said, okay, fuck this, I'm not dealing with that. But I can't. I think they need to really work on the PvP system completely, really hard. One of the most things that annoyed me was, especially with gathering quests, was where I would have to gather something, right, and do the whole gathering animation and everything, and then I would have to wait another 5 to 10 seconds for the item to actually pop out of whatever it was that I was gathering it from, just to actually make it count, which I thought was incredibly stupid. One of my biggest gripes, though, from the get-go was how they portrayed the male characters, and a lot of white knights, fucking trolls or whatever, people who are like really immature and don't know how to argue or whatever, or get offended by the stupidest shit or just the easiest shit and want to make an argument. They made it a fact that he's homophobic. No, it's not. It's because I'm not homosexual, so I don't want my character to look homosexual. I don't want him to do feminine things. I don't want to wear feminine things. I don't want my body shape to look feminine. That's the whole point of it. Instead of giving the option, which I'm all for, they force it down your throat. And this video right here pretty much shows that. Like, look at how my character is standing. Look at his posture, look at his animation, look at the body type, and look at the clothing. They gave me fucking what was it, a man thong? It was a man thong, it looked like. And it just really annoys the shit out of me that, they force that on you. And it's like, I should choose how I want my character to look. That's the whole point of making a character customization. It just irritated the shit at me. The Unreal Engine 3 graphics was I don't know if the texture was poor design from the devs, or it's just the maximum you can get from Unreal Engine 3. It goes back to the graphics. I really don't know whether or not who's that gonna be hanged on. But another thing was, I think we're up to like 9. Uh, you have no control over your character's armor or color at all. There's no control. There's nothing. Like I can control how I look. That's about it. Even in the cash shop, I can control how I look. Now their cash shop is nice. Their cash shop is decent. It's I'd say it's decent. You know, but when it comes to armor, I'm stuck with whatever they want me to look like. And a lot of it, like I said, it looks very feminine based, regardless of who you are. There's very little to determine whether or not you're female or male. It's just that really annoying feel to it. It's like I don't like playing female characters. I don't want to look like a female character. You know, it's just if I wanted to, basically if I'm playing any class at all, I'm stuck with, especially the assassin. I feel like the assassins have more of a feminine touch to them than the other classes, in armor wise especially, because my armor constantly looked like I don't know, something that was made for women, to be honest. The colors were completely not what I wanted because I was stuck with either red or pink. I don't mind red so much, but pink is definitely a no for me. And once again, it has nothing to do with homophobic. I am friends with tons of gay people. It's just that I do not want my character to represent this. I don't want my character to look like that. There's nothing to it. That's all there is. It's like people want to go, oh, you're homophobic. You're trying to portray, you're mad because they're not portraying a typical masculine. Like, no, dude. I just don't like my character to look like that. That's all there is to it. You know? Shit, I don't fucking care. And then I think one of the another problem, some of the zones were pretty short, but I think that can be tied up with being early access and all. So one thing I will say nice is that they do have some nice weapon skins. They do have, I do like the weapon animation, the idle weapon animation, and the running animation with weapons. That is pretty nice. I like that. But the quest system, it's pretty linear and pretty bland, and there's nothing new. At least other people try and do something. They just don't. They're like, oh, yeah, do that. You know. But another thing would be the game severely lacks information. Like there were so many times where I found myself just scratching my head, and like, what the fuck is this? They don't tell you anything, especially when it comes to your home. They call it a use space and Soma, and I still don't know what the fuck Soma is. They don't tell you what that does or how it works or anything about it. The game lacks a severe amount of information, and they're relying on players to do all the work for them with a wiki, and that's just lazy in my opinion. A wiki should not be needed, like required, to learn anything. So honestly, I wish I could say something about the story, but since the quest dialogue was so transparent, it made my eyes hurt trying to read it, because the text would often blend into the background. So it kind of got on my nerves. I said, fuck it. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna bother. So all in all, I mean, it's a meme game, but if you want to at least invest $60 in it, just get the starter edition, and at least you'll have it until the end, and you can at least go back anytime you want to try and check it out. But I would advise buying it and then not playing it for a while, because unless you have a lot of patience and you're very tolerant for bugs and shit, it's not. You're gonna get too frustrated and you're gonna quit before you're gonna forget about it, and just don't bother. Just buy it, leave it alone for a while, then come back. But all in all, that's my impression. That's my first impression plus a review, I guess, early access review of Otherland, I would say it's more of a between a 4.4 and a 5.5 out of a 10. Just because I don't really feel like it's nice that it's sci-fi. I love my sci-fis, but there's very little to do in the game in terms of as an MMORPG. You got PvE. That's it. I didn't really run into any dungeons. I don't know if they or implemented. I basically soloed the whole time, you know, because it's made it very hard to group, made it very hard to communicate with other players. Like I said, the whole interface game feels like it's in early alpha. So, if there are some good merits to the game, and I'm sure if you go over to the Steam forum, you'll find people who will gladly admit to those as long as you can tell them they're not blind. But if you're curious about the game, it is $16 right now. September 21st, 2015. It is $16 at this point. Get it while you can, before the price jumps or whatever, and just say fuck it. Alright, people. Peace. Thank you.